Hi, this is Candy from CG Applique Patterns. All videos in this series apply to the basic steps and techniques for all of my patterns. Demonstrations are made using a beginner pattern to accommodate any inexperienced appliqueurs. This is video 2, Trace Pattern onto the Background. You will need a Lightbox, a Frixion pen, a full-size pattern template, and the background fabric cut to size, either your size or the size indicated in the pattern package. I also use painter's tape on the paper pattern. The first thing we're going to do is to find the center of the actual pattern on the paper, because this particular pattern has all the flowers centered on the background. It's pretty easy to do. We're finding the center of the flower, not of the 8.5 by 11 paper. So we want to find the top and the bottom of the flower, which is right here. Meet them, crease. Then we want to find the width. So we meet the outer pieces, which is right up here, crease. Take the Frixion pen and mark where each crease is, because we're going to be using that, and put a circle, put a little dot in the middle where they come together. Next thing we're going to do is the same thing for the background. We're going to fold it into quarters, mark each crease, and find the center. The next step, I usually put a piece of tape, sticky side up, on the top and the bottom part. It could be the top and the bottom, and it could be side, top, and bottom. And we're going to center the background right onto the pattern. So you want to match the dots. See the dot there, and we're going to match the middle of the background here. And then we're going to match up the lines that we drew. You can see this through here. Here's a line on the paper. Here's a line on the fabric. So go around and just match that up. And as you go, you can smooth out your fabric, and it'll stick to the painter's tape or tape, and it won't move around while you're drawing. Next step we're going to do is trace the pattern onto the background. We'll start with number 1. And how do I know this is number 1? Because it's right there on the pattern, number 1. Okay, we want to transfer that number onto the pattern too. So each piece that you are tracing, you want to transfer that number to. Now this does not have to be a work of art, because it is just a map for placing your pattern pieces, which are your work of art. That's where all your hard work goes and all your fantastic fabric. Okay, we'll do a couple more so you can see. And I'm not being super neat, but I'm being accurate. These lines might be a little squiggly, they might be a little off, but it's just a map. Your pattern pieces are never going to fit exactly into these little template drawings. Okay, so I have 3, 4, 5, and 1 and 2 up there. Now when you're done, your background should look like this. Here's all the pieces, and they all have numbers. And let me explain what the numbers mean. I'll go back to the template because it's easier to see. Applique is usually just a bunch of overlaid and underlaid fabric. There's a lot of layering in applique, and you have to be able to visualize it from the bottom up. These numbers help you do that. I chose this piece to be number 1 because it is in the very back of the pattern. It's behind the last piece, which is number 16, and it's behind number 2. So this is number 1. Then you would go to number 2. Number 2 comes down to 4. Now it goes under 4, which is fine. This is a group. Well, I just call this a group because they're all grouped together. 3 and 4 go underneath 5. So you would place 3 and 4 covers up the end of 2. Then you put 5, that covers up the sides of 3 and 4. And it comes down here, and you'll have a lot of raw edges down here that come under 7. But you can't put 7 down right now because 6 goes underneath 7. So you see why we have the number 6 and the number 7, because this is on the top, and this tells you what's on the bottom. Now, it looks like 10 is on top of 6, but you cannot put 10 there yet because you've got 8 and 9. Now, 8 goes under 9, so it would be placed next. 9 goes over 8. Now you can put 10 down over all of them. There's a method to why they're numbered like they are. Now here, we don't start with 16, we start with 11, because 11 is under the entire flower. It's the very bottom. 12 and 13 cover 11 all the way down. 14 and 15 cover 12 and 13, and 16 is placed last. So it's very important to get those numbers in the right place, and you will use them. So the next video I'm going to be doing is preparing the freezer paper templates, which are basically these cut out, only there's a separate pattern template sheet that you use. Go to my Facebook group CG Applique Patterns to see the current patterns, videos, and purchasing info. And we'll see you next week or next video. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.